Why is Germany behind, Marcus? Why do you think that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's not in our DNA to be digital or be IT oriented. Germans used to be engineers. We made a living out of building machines and then optimize them to perfection so that they run without any issues. And this is basically where we're coming from for over 100 years now. So that's what is in our DNA and our blood.
Okay. So that is in your DNA, but so what's the challenges now? How is Germany behind comparing to rest of the
Yeah,
world?
but I think our biggest problem is that we still have this engineering mindset, but compared to other countries in the world, we cannot build stuff as cheap as other countries anymore. We used to build everything in Germany. Made in Germany is this big brand. If you can put it on your product, it brings more value to it. But nowadays, if you would like to have a machine part or a part of your car, the biggest car brands in the world are coming from Germany, and even they realized we cannot be competitive in the market if we produce everything in Germany. So they went outside, and you can produce way cheaper everywhere else in the world, and that's where the problem comes. We, as an economy, we need to figure out, hey, how can we compete with these China, Eastern Europe, where people are just cheaper because of different standards and social security, different cost of employees. If you have a billion people, one person is not as important as if you have 82 million. So yeah, that's where we are struggling. And I think the only way to compete in this area is if we manage to use what we have, our knowledge and our engineering skills, and let it produce somewhere else to then assemble it together or something like that. And to be efficient with that, we should use modern technology. So we need to be able to be digital. Because the biggest brands right now in the world, Microsoft, Apple, whoa, what is going on? TikTok went very big. Not German products, but IT products, digital products. We are emerging from a manufacturing world into a digital world. And if you do not want to die, you need to adapt.
So we talked about it just a few minutes ago when we went for a lunch that Germany basically has SAP as the
Yeah,
only export IT product that's
yeah, that's
very
the only
international.
international IT product I at least can remember, or big one which succeeded. And SAP is, their origins are build a software for manufacturing industries to be capable to be more efficient, yeah, to know what parts you have, where they are, to make assembling and production more effective or efficient. And this is where it's coming from. So a good old German manufacturing brand, kind of. But that's the only IT product we ever developed. There is no Facebook, no TikTok, Instagram, Microsoft whatsoever.
And so I work with a lot of German clients. We work with a lot of German clients, and I think they share this belief as well. They think that Germany is just simply stuck to old ways, not risking it, or not building something like in the US, for example. When I'm in Phoenix, I get into this self-driving car, and then recently there was this news that this self-driving car just hit like a lamp next to the street, and they just say sorry, we're gonna have to update the software, we're gonna have to fix it.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen here. Oh, if you cannot show that it's working perfectly, you're not allowed to run it here. And that's kind of, it's good and bad kind of together. Of course, it maybe saves a life if it wasn't a traffic light, if it was something else. But on the other hand, it slows down innovation. And we are not this big innovative mind in Germany, or we don't have it. If you go to the US, it's always grow, grow. What's the next big thing? They're kind of hunting it all the time. What is the next great thing to do? And with that, us, it's more traditional. If we have one thing, let's upgrade it to perfection. Work on perfectionizing it and do not think about something new. But that's not the IT or American way, especially in the digital world. You try out, you fail, you maybe rethink of a different approach or stuff like that. That's not what we are doing. It was the car. We invented it and then we perfectionized it over generations. And now they even drive themselves.
Hmm.
Not from us, but from others.
And you told me this crazy story about the Elon Musk's factory in Germany. Can you share about that? I think it's a great metaphor and analogy
Yeah,
to what you're talking about here.
it's very interesting. Elon Musk said, okay, I need to produce cars in Europe. Where do I go? Let's go to the biggest market, which is Germany, 82 million, still the engine of the European Union in terms of economy. And he decided he found a great piece of land to build it near Berlin. And yeah, if you want to build something in Germany, you need a permission to do it. But Elon didn't wait for it because to get a permission to build a factory can take 3, 4, 5 years. And he said he doesn't have time. So he just started. There was a forest, so he just get rid of all of the trees and he built the factory. He didn't care about that there's maybe a frog which needs to be protected, or he didn't even care about the water which is there if it affects someone, if he put his garbage in, just don't care. So he built it. And of course, he promoted it. So everyone knew in the world he is building this Giga factory in Germany. So he kind of put pressure on the government to give him the permission for it, because not doing it would make them look very bad. So he finished it. He even created jobs, which is what politicians always care about, that they create jobs. And yeah, and even when the first car came out, I don't know if he had the permission then or not, but he's producing, period. He just did it.
And it's kind of awkward for the government to say, "Hey, we're gonna pull back and close down the factory because it's gonna take the jobs away." So,
Yeah, so you're kind of handcuffed in that.
mhm.
So he single-handedly handcuffed the regional government of Brandenburg.
That is so funny. And so, what is your recipe for innovation, digitalization in Germany, based on what you think and your experience? What are the steps?
Yeah, I think we are working mostly with small to mid-sized companies and trying to help them um, accomplish their digitalization process. And normally we come in, of course, we are a recruitment agency. So what can we do? We can help out. And we can help out with permanent employees. We can help out with the right resources on a timely based contract. So that's what we can do. And if we get in contact with companies, we figured out that digitalization projects in Germany mostly have the same issues everywhere. And I hope we figured out a very good way. Just maybe let me give you an example. We are working with a small, oh no, it's mid-size, 5,000 people. It's not really small anymore, a company. They are producing toys and they are producing inventory for kindergartens and schools and stuff like that. And they were talking to all of these big four consultancies. They have about 570 PowerPoint slides of how to digitalize your operation, but no one ever did it. So they hired a CDO to execute all of these ideas. And then he came in and they created this project plan. And then you have a privately owned company where the founder is still alive and the kids are running it now, but it runs in the family. So very conservative mindset. And the owner said, yeah, no, we will do it with permanent employees. But especially in this digital world, it's hard to find experienced, skilled people who want to work where you are in the north of Bavaria, in the no man's land. these people go to Berlin, Cologne, North Rhine-Westphalia, somewhere of the big cities, Munich maybe. So where you want to be.
So just to paint the landscape for people who understand in more international context outside of Germany. So with north of Bavaria up until Berlin, there would be kind of like a Midwest in America, like the middle where nobody wants to go, like kind of
it's more like small towns,
in Ohio or something like that.
Something like that. And there is not much infrastructure. If you're living in a big city, it's different from countryside. So it's basically in countryside, they wanted to hire everyone internally. So they started it, and then they had a 6-month delay because they couldn't fill all of the positions needed to start the project. And that is a big fail because it didn't went off. We got in conversations, and I said, hey, maybe we have an idea, and we analyzed it, and we said, hey, okay, you have this big project you want to do. Let's just talk about your first 3 months of the operation. What do you want? What do you want to achieve? What are your first goals? What do we need to do to get started? Because you don't have any buy-in from the employees to change. And basically, it's stuck right now. So let's start some. So we analyzed it. They were in need of some agile coaches, some scrum masters, some product owner help, and stuff like that. We asked, hey, have you thought about building these people internally? Maybe there are some people interested in these new kinds of jobs in your company. They said, yeah, there are a few which are interested, but it is the most important project of the company. We cannot give it to someone who never did it. That's why we want to hire someone. I said, okay, I understand, but let's do the following. You will not find these people on the market in the next 6 months. You tried, you failed, so that will not happen. Let's try something different. Let's get some freelancers in for these positions. We don't like freelancers. They only take the money and they go away. They never leave something here and stuff like that. I say, okay, but your approach doesn't work. Now we do mine. We get them and we do the following. The people who wanted to get these jobs in the first place, but you not trust because they have no experience, we give them to the freelancers as a wingman so that they can learn from people with market experience, and they are there to absorb the knowledge so that the knowledge of the freelancer stays in the company.
So like the knowledge transfer happens.
That
basically.
We have a knowledge transfer from outside into the inside from people who have seen company like yours transform, who have seen the problems the others facing and who overcame it or didn't and know where the problems were. Yes, so we did that and we had success, and we had very good 3 months after we started. And this went very well, and we could build up knowledge internally, and that was something they never expected happen with freelancers. So that was great. And at the end, we finished the whole project, I think, a month earlier than it was planned, that we started 6 months late. And that was a very good thing. And at the end, they realized with these externals, they do not need to hire so many people. So it got closer what they need to hire. And then we started and we replaced freelance people strategically with permanent hires so that they could take over. And now everything is run internally and it works for them.
So one mindset shift to take away out of this is that temporary people can actually bring in a lot of expertise that can help with that can basically be transferred into the permanent team, which is something that people don't think about. They think they will come, they will help, and they will leave, and all that know-how is taken away, and they just pay higher per hour salaries in the end of the day, versus it's not necessarily true because this knowledge is being transferred to the permanent employees.
If you adjust your setup kind of that you're willing to keep this knowledge in terms of build up a database for what they did or document how they did it, then you can have value out of it. If you only have a fire, someone comes in, extinguishes it, goes away with his equipment again, and now it's just not there anymore. Okay, can be situations where that's needed. That's great if there is a fire. But if you want to build up on this, make sure that some of the knowledge and the procedure stays. And this is something you need to just do and build something up for yourself so that you can keep this knowledge. But this is what we see is happening all the time if you get some external advising. And with a freelancer, it's a bit more personal because they had these external advising. They had 570 PowerPoint pages of all big four consulting companies, which cost way more than all of these freelancers combined we put in there. But never started no one ever started the doing, and you need to do it together to learn and adjust. Otherwise, it's theoretically, but we need to operationalize it. We need to do it, and they needed to do it.
So would you say it's a solid, how you recruit as well, is it a solid alternative to, let's say, big consulting firms as well and their teams? I don't mean to pick up any fight with them right now in your company, so they go after you. But
no, I think it depends a bit on the magnitude. If it's so big and you need a lot of people to execute it, it can be a great idea to outsource it to one of them and then just then they have the structure ready, but make them educate you on how to keep it. That would be my advice in this case. But if if you have the strategy already and now you're thinking about how to execute it, it can be a great catalyst for you to have these people in to get you going.
And what else would you advise to those companies in Germany and in general when it comes to digitalization, innovation, from your experience and clients you're working with? At the end of the day, I'm thinking how and what does the recruitment company has to do with it, right? So I'm really curious about some examples there, and other learnings for people.
What would I advise in general? I would say, don't be afraid, because times are changing. Yeah, we cannot make a living anymore from building cars. That's not how we can build up our economy. So this change is coming. We have so many changes environmentally, climate change, all of this. So there will be a lot of changes and we need to be open to change. And this is one of the biggest things you can take from Phoenix and the US and where you're living right now. People are always open and for the latest thing. That's not basically what we are. I think we could learn a bit from it. They can learn a bit from us as well in terms of social security and stuff like that. Depends on what you're aiming for. But you need to try out stuff. You need to be able to adjust to the future, to be ready to, because these changes are coming.
And is there some concerns that people have in Germany in general that other countries take over, like China or US, and that Germany is becoming less relevant? Or how do you feel about that?
I think we should be more concerned about it than we maybe are. A lot of German companies see that the production is cheaper in China. So, of course, we still have the idea that our products are working better or have a higher quality if it's made in Germany. They will close this gap eventually. This will happen. They have so much power, they have so much money to invest into this as well, to rebuild it.
And if I can just comment, I was just recently in Shanghai and I used to have this picture of China, which is just like things not working and it's a developing country. And it was quite opposite. And I've seen tons of electric cars of their own brands that they're building. Everything looked pretty much better than the US, to be honest. And it's just cleaner and there's no homeless people and drug addicts on every corner of the street. That's maybe not relevant, but just in general, it just looked really, really developed. And I can see how China is catching up here.
This is, I think we have to give it to them that Shanghai is one of the cities where you let the Western people in to show how great you are. So there is a political push behind it that one of these cities look great. If you go to countryside in China, it might be worse than countryside in the US, but that's what you normally do not see. They are coming and they are investing. They have a high quality right now. So we just cannot compete on this field. They are 1 billion people. So we don't have a chance. We cannot produce as cheap as they. That is just not possible. So we need to find other ways to use the things we are good at. Processes, perfectionized stuff, And we are going out of industrial age. We're going into digital age. We just need to adapt to digital things, digital processes. And you can be so much faster if you do stuff digital. If you do not write it by hand, send it over the post, if you just write an email. It's the same stuff, but it's fast. And there are so many examples where we could learn from it, where we could use something of your US guys in terms of the mindset and the visionary and the ideas. Then we bring a bit of our social security to it and a bit of the digital stuff. And then we still can be top-notch players, but we definitely need to adapt. Otherwise, we will lose.
And I think even the US is not so much on the forefront of that. So, for example, living in Dubai for quite some time before, I've realized you could just figure every government kind of thing on your phone with an app, and pretty much you don't get letters coming to your house. You have all the letters from the government coming through email or some kind of web portal, which is not really working that well, I'm guessing, in Germany just yet.
Oh, no, forget it. No, that's not what we can do. There is a paper form in anything. So if you go back to Elon Musk, if you want to build a factory, you have to fill out a paper form.
But he said, like, whatever, I'm just not going to do that. And then I'll see what happens.
He maybe emailed them, I will build it right now. Period. I don't know.
But so to bring it home, it's about being more open and just embracing and enabling the change rather than being stubborn in the old ways.
Yeah. That's a good way to sum it up together. We just need to let it happen and be happy with it. Yeah. Everyone has a smart TV at home right now. Yeah. Some German invented the Braunsche Röhre, so
which is
the old TV with these. Okay. I don't know what the English word for it is, but this is how a TV worked back in the days. Now you have these flat screen stuff like that connected with the internet. Who's watching TV anymore? We are streaming. Yeah, streaming portals are on high. The only thing you may be watching TV is sports, and even there, the streaming services are coming. So there is change in our everyday life. Everyone has a smartphone. That's new, and we didn't invent it, but we are using it. So we should get back to a position where we kind of influence where the market is going. Right now, it only comes to us and then we take it, but we need to get a step ahead again. And yeah, this is why we need to get more digital. Digitalization is coming. Digital companies are more successful. They are faster. So they will kick our butts if we don't. So that's why we have to do it.
And I think we finish on that note on let's kick butts and focus on digitalization enabling. Thank you so much, Marco. That was fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here in Berlin and building up this great studio with me or finding the right buttons to push. That was awesome.
Thank you. See you guys.
Bye.